What once was a talk about birds and bees and how you develop sexual nature has now changed, for at least the black community, into a talk about police brutality and how to make it home safely.
My father's conversation with me was daily.
My grandfather talked to me as a black man from Augusta, Georgia, growing up in the Deep South.
It's probably Rob, my older brother, had this conversation. But then it's more of like, you know, wear a condom, do this. You know, it's like little man lessons.
When a cop pulls you over.
When you get pulled over, not if you get pulled over.
At some point, you will get pulled over, and here is how you act.
The first time he was barely in middle school and just starting to venture out on his own after school. Jared, if the police stop you, always make sure they can see your hands. Don't reach for anything. And please do not mouth off. You can do that when you get home safely. Like most black mothers know, I had the conversation with my son, not once, but many times over many years. Whether our sons are 15 or 25, we worry. I've always told my son that most police officers are good people who protect our community and risk their lives for our safety. And yet, as black mothers, we know our sons' vulnerabilities is measured by the exceptions that feel like the rule. This must change. Today, far too many black people believe the police stand against them, and far too many black officers look the other way or deny the existence of any problem at the time. It's time for good police officers to stand with good citizens to change the culture. As we sadly watch events unfold in Baltimore, I cannot help but imagine how many times Gloria Darden, the mother of Freddie Gray, had the conversation. We saw her so strong and consumed by her grief, declare that she wants justice for her son, but not like this. Throughout Baltimore and other cities, black mothers have been the voices of calm. They've asked for justice, for accountability, for reflection, and for peace. Black mothers are pleading for a sustained conversation to solve the problem of our communities so that no other mother has to bury her son, but sadly, their voices are being drowned out. By Democrat Donna F. Edwards.
Children. It is just really a reality. It's the same conversation, I think, that many parents have about stranger danger. It's the same conversation that parents have with their children about look both ways before you cross the street.
But if you are a parent, because I'm having a conversation about stranger danger with my kids, and I say, don't get into any cars, don't go with somebody.
But my point, Allison, is when you are a parent of color, the conversation that you do have those conversations about stranger danger, but you also must have the very normal conversations that we must have, which is you've got to realize that people will see the color of your skin before they see the content of your character. Right. You've got to realize that you've got to make sure when you have these police encounters, if you're going to have them, and you probably will have them, that you have to make them as short and sweet as possible. Yes, show your hands to police officers. Yes, be very respectful. Sonny, and unfortunately, I don't think that white parents have to have those conversations.
I want to ask These are conversations that people of other races do not have to have with their children.
The conversation with him was really just, look, you're a beautiful young boy.
Being an African American is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful blessing. You have come from great people, but it's also a hard thing.
In America, because of your skin color, as a black boy and as a black man, we are going to be dealing with a lot of danger.
I lived in fear that my son would die like this. I even warned him that because he was a young black man, he would meet people who didn't value him or his life. That is a conversation that no parent should ever have with their child.
On the community violence level, you can teach a child to say, avoid this tough neighborhood, avoid that group of friends because I think those guys are up to no good, avoid behaving this way, comport yourself this way, and it can make a difference. However, the skin that you are born into is an immutable trait. It cannot be changed, nor should it be changed. And that means that is where the frustration comes when you say that there's an architecture that looks just at the skin, and people in authority can then take that and profile you based on that, and that's something you cannot change.
And Sonny, I want to bring you in. You are...
We're going to turn to Stephanie Elam in Los Angeles. You've had some really interesting conversations and done some great reporting for us. And I want to address this this conversation that many African American parents have had with their sons and oftentimes their daughters, these written or unwritten rules for raising black boys.
Yeah, and it's a conversation. I talked to so many people across the country, John and Michaela, about this very issue, and everyone agrees that no one has told them how to have this conversation with their kids, but all of them are having them with their children, especially their sons.
I want to bring you in. You are a mom. You have a son. What conversation do you have with him?
Well, you know, I think we can make this pretty simple because the bottom line is we're living in a post-Trayvon Martin, post-Zimmerman trial world. And any parent of color, Latino or African-American parent, must have these conversations with their children. It is just really a reality. It's the same conversation. And the bottom line is that I see my child, I see my son when I see Trayvon Martin, when I see Jordan Davis, when I see Michael Brown. I feel their pain, I empathize, and I realize that there but for the grace of God goes my child. And what do I do to protect my child? I've got to have those discussions.
What I love about you as my son is I remember when we thought about having you and, you know, knowing that we wanted you and watching you grow.
You are the Muhammad Ali, you are the Malcolm X, you are the Martin Luther King. You are an amazing young man, and the future is yours.
And I will do my best to make sure you're safe. That's it. I love you.